March is Women's History Month, and this is day 12 of talking about strong women, women you need to know. Today, let's talk about Miss Charlotte Ray. Charlotte was born January 13th, 1850, one of 6 children, born in New York City. Her dad was a minister, worked in the abolitionist movement, and also worked, I believe I've read that he worked in the underground movement as well. Education was very important to him for his children, including his 3 daughters, and he insisted that they all get an education, including college. Miss Charlotte chose what was named at the time the Institute for Education of Colored Youth, which is now known as the University of D.C. in Washington, D.C., where she graduated in 1869. Miss Charlotte Ray went on then to teach at the prestigious Howard University Prep School. While she was there, she also registered and attended the 3-year studies at the Howard University School of Law. She completed that and graduated February 27, 1872, the only female to do so. She went on to be admitted to the bar finally after she took her exams. She was admitted to the D.C. bar March 2nd of 1872, and not only that, she was the first woman to be admitted to practice in front of the Supreme Court of D.C., and she received that honor on April 23rd, 1872. While at Howard, she specialized in corporate law, and even her professor said no one knew the law like she did. One of her most famous cases, apparently before the Supreme Court, was on June 3rd, 1875, and by that time she went immediately after the bar, went into private practice, and one of the cases that she argued before the Supreme Court was of an uneducated woman who was trying to get a divorce from her husband. He was incredibly violent. She suffered domestic violence all the time. He was constantly drunk, beat up on her, broke the furniture, tore things up, and was just generally not a nice guy. And at one point, he broke the bed that she was sleeping in, and when she decided, I'll just sleep on the floor, he went downstairs and got an axe and tried to tear up the floor all around her so that she would fall through and die. My goodness gracious. Anyway, unfortunately, though Miss Charlotte Ray had graduated Howard School of Law, just like the men, had taken the same exams, same courses, and been admitted to the bar, it is unfortunate that her business had to close. She was quite eloquent, a speaker. She was an authoritative speaker, clearly had the education, knew her law, but simply because she was a woman and African American, people thought she simply could not possibly know what she was talking about. Miss Charlotte Ray returned to teaching at the Brooklyn school system. Her legacy that she leaves us, 1872, the Women's Journal at that time wrote her up as one of their women of the century, and rightfully so. 1873, she attended the women's suffrage movement, where she also worked for the suffrage, for women's rights and the suffrage a great deal in her life. She attended that Women's Suffrage Association in New York City in 1873. In 1895, she joined the National Association of Colored Women. And in March 2006, the Northeastern University School of Law named their newly chartered Phi Alpha Delta Law Fraternity International in her name, recognizing her place in our history as the first female African American attorney. So today, day 12 of Women's History Month, Miss Charlotte E. Ray, we salute you.